Cool.
Hit 30 minutes.
We're live. Where y'all boys located right now?
Where y'all locate questions where you're located. Laz,
Dude,
where you at?
I'm in Miami, man. Coconut Grove, Miami 305.
Yeah, the 305, dude.
Yeah.
I like it. I don't even know what zip code I'm in, man. I don't know if they are zip codes out here. I think they Peru.
You're in Peru. How's your Spanish getting over there? Because I saw you were in Colombia before that.
Oh, man. Mi hablo mucho español. I don't know. Yo sé mucho español. No,
just said the same thing.
Yeah,
I know. Dude,
no hablo español.
No, I can do all right. Actually, I can get around, man. I would say that I can basically do all the normal things you need to do, like order food, and I don't sound hella gringo. I sound just a little gringo.
I don't sound gringo.
That sounded gringo.
you speak Spanish, Laz? I feel like you do.
You definitely have to, man. In Miami, you're better off speaking Spanish than English.
Yeah.
And I'm Cuban American, so yeah, I definitely speak Spanish.
He's got it, man.
You want to speak Spanish on this podcast together?
What's up?
You want to speak Spanish on this podcast? Just only Spanish?
Yeah, let's do it. Where are you? Gino's not now. You're Colombia. You're probably Italian, so let's do it. Let's just leave him out of it, right?
Yeah, exactly. I know my little Spanish, though, man. 5 years of Spanish.
There you go. Gino got some pretty good Spanish actually on him.
Español para 5 años.
There you go.
I think my favorite thing I've learned so far is we were riding back from Machu Picchu, and our driver we're just talking, and like I don't know why this came up, but he was just like La Coche and La Noche. I don't know like what he was talking about. It's like the car in the night. I was like, bro, are you okay, Junior?
Did anyone help translate?
What's up?
No translators?
No, I mean I honestly can understand pretty well, so don't really need one as long as they talk slow. So like despacio, amigo, poquito español.
There you go.
And they get it. But anyways, Laz, let's get going, bro. So you're wholesaling down in Florida. Tell us a little bit about yourself, man.
Yeah, sure. So in Florida, a little bit of greater Atlanta, which I know is your neck of the woods. Been in the wholesale space for about 7 years now. The first 3 of those years were working for another big time business here in South Florida. Kind of learned the ropes there. That was more of like the REO times. So I saw that transition out, potentially transition back in. We'll see how that plays out. And then kind of just went my own route, right? Started flipping a little bit myself. Realized there was too much instability in just flipping, right? And realized we needed to create a business, right? So that's kind of how, we started our business. Where we are today, it's me and 2 business partners, Mel, that you guys know, and Javier. We are transitioning now. We were doing a lot of flipping before, right? It was mostly flipping, some wholesale, and now it's becoming definitely more wholesale, very little bit of flipping. And even that, we're really seeing to stop and just really focusing on the wholesale model. We have a few rentals, but it's definitely we're definitely like a transactional team at the very least for now. Kind of what we're doing deal-wise, we're anywhere between 8 to 12 deals a month. Really looking to scale that. And fully virtual, which I know is something I can relate with you guys on, is, we're team virtual for sure. It's the only thing I knew since I started. I actually didn't even know people were doing appointments until I got the Collective Genius. And I was like, oh shit, like appointments is like more than people do virtual.
Yeah.
Which is like the opposite, right?
Yeah. So tell us, what is Laz, what's some marketing sources you guys are doing?
So we're definitely cold call heavy, right? When we combine that with 2 different types of forms of cold call, we have the 2 outsources, but one that's kind of, the typical, EJA, very cheap callers, and just throw a lot of data at them and kind of what sticks. And then the other one is kind of where we focus more on like our better data, and we kind of keep that a little closer to us in-house, where the callers are just a little bit better, not too much better, but we have a little bit more control over those lists as opposed to the other lists. So good amount of cold call. Between both, we have about 14 cold callers right now. We dabble with PPC. I say dabble because we just started with Bateman. We'll see how that plays out. We're literally talking about the first 3 weeks. It not enough to even give you a sample size there. So what am I doing consistently? I'm doing cold call. I'm doing direct mail, which is really just to my most focused, like, my best data sets. And I do a little bit of need to sell my house fast, right? I kind of keep that open just to keep the guys like engaged while we're waiting for lead transfers, while we're waiting for direct mail. So I guess our three biggest right now are cold call, need to sell my house fast, and direct mail. We're kind of looking to see how PPC plays out. And kind of one of the things that we talked about, Gino, and is that I'm trying to get back into SMS. It's one of those things that I stopped just like an idiot. And your video, when you talked about like the only reason why we're crushing it, other than I'm sure your systems are locked in, but it's because you guys never stopped. And, you know, I was the asshole that stopped. So trying to get back into that heavy.
No, I like that. No, you're being vulnerable because, you know, even us, I made a video. I don't know if my YouTube video, if it came out, I filmed it last week, but we actually stopped in cold calling. So it's so funny. It's like we're going the other way, but that was for I have a reasons in the video. But I'm curious to hear on your so obviously SMS, you're looking to get back into that, but I'm curious to hear because like right now, cold calling, what we're dealing with is just every number's marked spam. The conversations are going down. It's just like, you know, all the people you're maintaining. I was like, hey, we could just double even more on SMS and use that maybe into some PPC. Kind of how are you guys getting, you know, using 14 people is a bunch. I know you're using a provider in one of them, but like preventing from all these spam and all these carrier stuff. You know, is there any certain things you guys are doing different?
So for the first 12 callers, I probably could just tell you that my ignorance is bliss because I am so disconnected from what they're doing. And I just know that they're still sending me leads consistently.
Yeah, that's good.
And it still creates an ROI, right? Has it gotten harder? For sure. Like if I would have told you maybe like a year ago, even like 18 months ago, there was a point where we were getting like almost one deal per caller, right? That's like I'm definitely not getting one deal per caller now, right? We're probably seeing that cut to half, right? I think it's like we're like a 0.45. So yes, has it gotten harder to do cold call? Yes. But we're just taking kind of a similar possible approach that you're taking SMS where we're just like, dude, I don't care. We're going to keep running it. Like, I don't even know how shitty it's going on the back end because it's producing leads. And we're still generating around a 600% ROI off that. Right. So there's obviously a ton of room to dial it in, but to answer your question, I think we're just doing so much of it that the numbers are still in our favor.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, that's what it comes down to too. I hate when people like not hate when it, but like some people are like so like, hey, what are you checking this to this little number to this? Like some people have analysis paralysis where they're checking so much. I'm not saying don't check your major KPIs, but some people are like, well, I'm not getting this for exact, like kind of what I was just saying, like my connection rate's a little down. I'm like this. Are you getting the return on investment? Are you seeing that return on investment forward? It's also important if you are getting a return on investment, you're looking at when did you spend money on those leads at the same time as well. So they got to counter. So if you might say, oh shit, we're getting a 5x return. But yeah, all that most of the revenue came during like a March lockups or May lockups. And it's like, hey, the market's shifting now. What's it done in the last 2 months? And that's what was up with cold calling. We looked like 2 months, like we hadn't got a set closed deal, like even projected to close, but like one in the last 2 months. With cold calling, we're like, bro, it's not going to work out right now. Like it's not projecting out. If we project the revenue out, it's not making sense, you know?
Yeah, we could just take our money and put it somewhere else and get a better return.
Yeah, that makes sense. And SMS is one of those things that's like, if you can use all that data for SMS, I mean, for me, the big thing is why I want to transition into SMS is I've seen people like you guys, I think of Charles Contreras too, who've like really scaled SMS. And the few times I have had some momentum with SMS, I've noticed that once it gets past like that live transfer part and it gets to my acquisition guys, it's borderline one of the best leads I've seen. Like, I don't know if it's because it comes from like such a challenging source to get them initially. Yeah. And I don't know what it is, but I've looked at our contract per lead when we were doing SMS off net leads, which for us would be more of a live transfer, like not even that lead, just say from the moment it gets a qualified lead and it's a live transfer. And the contract per lead is great. So I definitely, it's something I want to get back into. And kind of back to your first part is like, like with cold call, the way I'm using it with a provider, that everything is cheap, right? The data I'm providing them is not the best data. It's just everything. I'm skip tracing it at a very efficient price. And I'm just letting it stick on the wall. Like I recognize that they're giving me they're giving me a lead at maybe $30 a lead. Let's just say, right? For sake of example, I'm not going to grade that as hard as I'm going to grade like my direct mail that's giving me $200 per lead. You know what I mean? So like kind of keeping that in mind. Like if it was direct mail and like, my KPIs on direct mail are like, I know every goddamn thing about it, right? Because I'm spending $200 per lead. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Talk a little bit about direct mail. What are you doing to have success with your sending mailers Just go into that. What list are you targeting? What's a little bit about, the whole process?
So we're using Authentic. We're looking at a few other places, and I'm very happy with Authentic, but we're looking at who else can give us a good predictive data. So we're utilizing predictive data. We're sending it out very consistently. So kind of by the times we'll grab the Authentic list and we'll break it down into about 5 to 6 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
That campaign's end, we are immediately starting another campaign. We're pretty much starting the second campaign by the 5th week of the first campaign, so there's no momentum being lost. Because you realize with direct mail, like it is literally just like you can't stop. Like that's literally, I think, from what I've gathered from it, because I kind of looked at how it's progressed, right? And you look at it, and we're just talking about conversion cycles, right? But you're looking at it in the first quarter, and we were like 40K in the hole, just an example, right? And then I think by the 6th month, we were about starting to break even. And then from the 6th month to the 9th month, we immediately got to a 300% return, right? So it was like kind of one of those things like, are you willing to stick it out? I'm sure this is very similar to you guys with TV, I would guess. But it's just one of those things that if you're willing to stomach it, you can make money. Now, the flip side to that is with cold call, you're able to make mistakes, right? Because if your acquisition team isn't super dialed, like you'll still find a way to make an ROI. With direct mail, that's not the case. Like if you're not answering your calls at a 100% answer rate or damn near close to it, you're literally just you're burning money. So, I mean, your acquisition team has to be absolutely dialed if you want to get into that type of lead source.
For sure.
Yeah, I would say on the TV thing, like you said, it's like it was 6 months before we really started seeing anything happen, And once it gives and turns around, it does good. It's kind of a core backbone. I'm sure like now direct mail is just the sweet and slow and steady that always drips in, right? But it is a bitch getting it going.
And who are you using, Laz, to do your direct mail?
Direct one. So I'm doing it.
Chuck.
Yeah.
Chuck,
they're good.
Yeah, I like that. So you said a little bit about your acquisition team being dialed. You guys close virtually. What are some of the things you feel like you do really well in order to close deals at a higher rate virtually?
We definitely follow some effective scripts. I mean, we used to not be the company. We used to be the company that was kind of just like, work hard. You're a hustler, dude. And like, if you're a hustler, like
make it work.
You got this. And there's some merit to that early on. Like if you're creating a business or but I think one of the things that we do good now is we make sure to follow a process, like verbatim, right? Like, so for us, it's a process call. From a process call, there's an offer call. And we stick to that and we make sure to set the expectation throughout. So we're really creating that perception with sellers, like, hey, like, our financial partners are going to be part of this and they're the ones making the decision and so forth. So I think it's crucial. And this is something that we've really learned recently, but it's crucial to make sure you're creating that perception to sellers. You know what I mean? Like you're virtual, right? Like they're talking to you through a phone. Like they don't know if you're in Hawaii or they don't know if you're like, in the middle of the hood. They don't know where you are, right? So it's crucial that you create that perception for them, create transparency, and then take the pressure off yourself as the acquisition agent so that you feel comfortable hitting them, where you have to hit them, especially in this market, right? Where you have to feel comfortable hitting people in the shorts. That's just kind of the reality of the market we're in.
Yeah, I like that.
Hitting them in the shorts. What are you guys kind of doing to hit them below the waist?
Yeah,
I like that. So dealing with the market, or what would you say to someone who does not have a sales process? Like, how would you go about building one?
Man, I mean, dude, if you don't have a sales process or you don't at the very least understand some of the fundamentals of our business, like you don't have a smartphone. Like I think like just kind of look at, grab some key things that you should be obviously doing, right? But even before that, honestly, like before we even talk about, do you have a sales process? Like how hard are you hitting your leads? Like, let's probably even just start there, right? Like, because that's part of your sales process, right? Like you could be smooth on the phones, right? But like, if you're taking 45 minutes to call your lead and you're not even triple calling it and sending it an SMS, the text as a follow-up and then hitting it 2 times more that day, like you're not even going to have a chance to win before the battle even starts, right?
No.
So I think the first part is being aggressive with your follow-up, being aggressive with hitting your leads fast is the priority. And then from there, setting an expectation, making sure you're setting clear expectations with the sellers. And understanding what type of sellers you're dealing with, right? Not every seller is the same. Some are going to be drivers, some are going to be expressive, some are going to be amiable. And it's your job to, to kind of, kind of be like, like a chameleon, right? And match the energy that they're providing. So I think that would be some of my feedback.
Yeah, like that. I like that. So with the market, how are you guys doing down there in Florida? Like, what's the market like down there?
Yeah. I mean, we're feeling it, right? We're feeling it. Obviously, it's kind of one of those things, I think, where what we're going back to is like, we need to make sure, we're marketing in the right areas, right? So making sure we're dialing in our zip codes, we're hitting areas where we have the best shot at selling the deal. I think that's the first part. And then the second part is like, what is selling still are the deals that like have like no argument against them to not sell. You get me? So like they have two bathrooms, they're vacant, or they're close to being vacant. They're not in the middle of nowhere, concrete block. So making sure you're giving buyers, like, if they need 10 things on their checklist to buy that house, like the houses that have 10 things that on the checklist are what's selling. You know what I mean?
What are you doing with the other ones though? Anything creative? Or are you still just hitting them deeper discounted or?
Deeper discount, man. That's definitely a place that we need to go, though. We definitely try to MLS clause a lot of stuff. We try to novate. It's not what we're doing at the highest level, to be honest with you. And I know kind of people are talking about creative finance more, kind of, I guess, with the whole pre-foreclosure potential ramp up that we may see. So I think putting like somebody in that seat who can handle that is something we definitely should be looking into.
Yeah, I would say the big thing we're looking at now is like, obviously in this whole business and the last, we've talked about this before. And Laz, you probably heard it at CG when they were talking about it when you were just there, is in the past 2 years, you could be a mediocre, business owner and see massive success. Now, the business owners that were above average are seeing average success, right? It's switched, and those mediocre operators are no longer going to be in the business in 6 months, right? Everyone's feeling it right now. When I say everyone, I mean like the top CG guys, right? And the guys, CG's a collector genius, a mastermind. Some of the top guys we know, they didn't make money in the last month. But the thing is there, like, we're all struggling. I know a bunch of people didn't. We didn't. But the thing is there, we knew we weren't, and we know why we didn't. And now we know why we can fix it. And now we know what we can do in the future. And that's the difference between some of these other people we're talking about, right, Laz? Like the people that, that are maybe running a mediocre business, those people aren't changing, adapting fast enough to correct themselves in this market. So like you said, you're feeling it down there. Everyone in the country I've talked to, like I said, guys from top guys and all over CG around the country, they're struggling. Like, these are the best guys, but the key there is they have an action plan where to fix it, and they know where to go to fix it. And so that's why it's important, Laz, and you're in CG, we're in CG. Joining a mentorship, mastermind, whatever it is during these times is going to be most important, because you need to be around other people and taking one thing they're doing here, taking someone's thing here. Like, hey, how are they surviving here? They do the same. Like, just taking one thing or another, not the entire business model, but not switching business models, but at least identifying and saying, hey, what are they doing during this time? Because I need to follow people like that. We can go in this together. Now I'm not dealing this with myself. I'm not thinking about myself, God, I'm terrible in this business, when I can now relate with 50 other investors nationwide. And that's a low key, like, very important factor. And during these times is being able to have someone to relate to / having an organization that you can go to with any of your problems.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome, man. You're absolutely right. That's awesome.
It's pretty spot on too. It's like right now, just more than ever, it's more critical to be more dialed in. Like, for example, just like diving into the pipeline, like, how are like you said, how hard are leads being hit? Are they being hit at all? Like, what's the motivation of these people? Why are they not on appointment? Why are they not on contract? All these things. Like, why do we not sell this? Why do we not set this offer? Whatever it is. And like knowing the exact reason and like managing that pipeline to a T. And like, just for an example, like the other day, like this last week, we had a couple properties that weren't selling. So I went through and just called all the interested buyers who had submitted interest on the property. They didn't make offers. They didn't even see the property. Some of them. I just called them up, and I sold 2 deals in 2 days just from calling these people who were just in the system. And like right there, it's like, hey guys, like, why aren't we calling these gold mines? And you're telling me these deals can't sell. Like, I literally spent 3 hours of work and I sold 2 deals that no one else was going to make happen. And just because you're not putting the actions in. And like, I think right now and more than ever, it's like, you got to make sure these actions are being done. And if they're not, then you're going to definitely be sinking. So.
Yeah. Yeah, that's spot on, man, for sure. Brian Snyder had a presentation about that where he was talking about like, you see the meme where it's like the lion's in the back, and it's like, yeah, the lion's in the back because he's protecting his herd that's up front, or he's in the front because his herd is like, no, the lion's wherever the hell he needs to be right now. I think he used the wolf as an example, but to what you're saying, Chad, like this is kind of one of those times where like I feel like as a leader of an organization, it's like, dude, all right, if you need me to hit in the 7-hole, I'll hit in the 7-hole. You need me to hit wherever you need me to be, I will be there.
Yeah.
For the sake of continuing, to do what we got to do to get the deal done. Somebody had said something there, Grayson. If we do deals in Palm Beach, Port St. Lucie, or Martin County, PB, I do a little bit of Palm Beach County. If I can get his email, I can send him deals for sure in those areas.
We'll get you to reach out to you on social media after.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah, if you guys got anything in Palm Beach County, I'm trying to buy something. So
yeah,
personal.
All right.
Personal. I
There
like
you go.
that North Palm Beach.
There you go.
There you go.
But yeah, Chandler,
no,
spot on.
I think it's spot on, dude. I like that the wolf is wherever the wolf needs to be to make sure the pack keeps eating. That's good right there.
Yeah, for sure.
So for you, Laz, like, what are you guys like most proud of, like working hard on right now, which is overcoming the market? Like, is it like, obviously, like, how are you feeling with the sellers and the buyers, like sentiment where the sellers are still high, the buyers are still low? Like, our deals still, like, I know you said the best product's moving, the other product's not. Like, what kind of like things are y'all seeing just in the Florida market specifically, and like kind of how are you adapting?
Yeah. So how are we adapting? One of the things that we're doing is we are, we're doing a significantly better job of quality assurancing our calls and making sure, like you said, making sure where are the gaps, right? Like if I had X amount of process calls, why do I not have X amount of offer calls? And if I had X amount of offer calls, why do I have an X amount of contracts? And making sure we're listening to those recordings. Also, what we're doing is we're actually bringing our company back out of the virtual world. We're still going to have virtual wholesale, but we're getting into an office space, which I guess could be somewhat contrarian to you're adding something to your operational cost. But we're excited about it because we think like if we get everybody back into the office, we can continue to create and I know you don't need it because you guys don't have it, but just to continue to grow that environment and that culture. So I'm very excited to be back into an office. I'm excited to be back in an office, not have to work from a room in my townhouse, but. And I'm excited because honestly, like at the end of the day, is this going to be hard? Absolutely. But like if we own businesses, we run businesses, we low key love problem solving and we love problems, right? So I enjoy that part. And also at the end of the day, like there's going to be market share at the end of this, right? And like Gino said, if you're running your shit right, you're going to get out of this fundamentally a better company, and there's going to be more market share. You know what I mean? So when you combine both of those, I'm excited for the growth that's going to come out of this.
For sure. And guys, we got 15 people on here right now, and many people are going to be watching the recording. So what's some questions, guys? Please leave them in here. We got about 7 minutes left here for Laz. So if you got questions for him, please leave them in here. And I think it's important, Laz. I think it's not a bad idea to create that, see how it goes, test it out in terms of getting that office and stuff. What we have is we use Discord. So everybody in every division, they have their own office. Like acquisition managers have their own office. They go into an office where all 4 of them are in there. So like we kind of like try to adapt to that this year, which helped a lot with, hey, like if I needed something, I can go in their office. Or 2, they feel like now we're together in an office working, and like they got to be ready on their computer in case I come in there, in case another AM needs help. So it's helped a lot with that as well, for the virtual people out there, just Discord and having different rooms and stuff like that.
Just like the speed of communication, the speed of execution just goes up, and you can just talk instantly.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that's still valuable for us because like, yeah, my AMs are in-house, right? Like, our management team, our transaction coordinator, right? A bunch of our backend is still virtual. So still definitely something we can use.
Yeah, I like that. Laz, I have a question. What's the next big thing for you? What you got anything new cooking?
Oh, cooking. Yeah, always cooking. That's a good question, man. We're going to be aggressively hiring, which I know is kind of interesting, but we're definitely doing that because we think there's still going to be a ton of opportunity. So that's exciting. Going back into the office, like I said, I think one of the big things that we're doing too is we're making sure to position our liquidity for sure. because I live in Miami. None of my rentals are in Miami. And I want to tap into my market. You know what I mean? I mean, there's just so much upside here. And so definitely having the opportunity to get back into buying my holds in South Florida, Miami particularly, because that's where I'm at. Super excited to be able to get to do that. I think sooner than later.
Yeah, I like that. Let's see. We got a question from Grayson here. We're seeing YTC. I wish I knew what that meant, but I think maybe that's something for auction property rentals around 8% in South Florida. We're ramping up off-market acquisitions. What's y'all's cost per lead for cold call, SMS, direct mail, RVM, etc.? Thanks.
Okay. I can answer cold call. My cold call hovers around 35 to 40 cost per lead. My cost per closed deal is about 3K on that, 2,800, let's say. My SMS, that's for the pros that I'm looking at, you guys. Direct mail, I am higher than that. My cost per lead is at about 220-ish, and my cost per deal sits closer to 4. I don't do RVM.
Yeah, we don't do RVM. We have an
so
RVM started, but what's the SMS, Chandler?
Yeah, SMS. So we're right around like 20 to 25 cost per lead, 20, 25 bucks. And that's around 20 to 50 or so right in there for cost per contract.
Yeah.
And for the yield part for the rentals, I have a really good deal in Riviera, which is Palm Beach, that I could maybe hit him with for sure.
Hit him up. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and again, Laz, we'll let you talk about before you head out here. Might as well do it now. Where can the listeners reach out to you, Laz?
Yeah, man. So I need to get better. This was my whole thing at CG was like, I need to get better on social media. I'm literally opening my phone to tell you what my handle is.
That's fine. Hey.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, dude, I'm too old, but I need to get better because obviously there's a lot of value in that. So on Instagram, I'm LACH Perez, Latch, LACH Perez. Hit me up there. I'll definitely respond. And yeah, I mean, if anybody needs anything, I'm here to help, man. A lot of people have helped me. So I'm here to return the favor.
Heck yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. Laz, just think about something you'd want to leave the listeners with. I'm going to make a quick announcement real quick. So, but just think about what you want to leave the listeners with, and we'll be rolling out. But honestly, great time today. So real quick, guys, just a couple announcements. Gino has one as well, just for their meetup. But today we're going to start opening up how you guys can sell on MLS with us. And basically, I'm going to release some information on my story. So make sure to stay tuned to that. And I'm going to leave a link for how you can submit your deals to work with us and JV on deals together where we can sell them on the MLS. And if you have a deal that's not moving, we can renegotiate with the seller and get it on the MLS. Or just if you have an MLS deal and you want to be guided through it, best practices, the whole 9 yards, we can handle that entire process for you and show you straight down the line how to do it. So that's mine. Gino, you have y'all's meetup coming up.
Yeah, we have a meetup. You're in Atlanta. You're watching the recording tomorrow, Wednesday, the 26th of October at 7 p.m. at Dry County Brewery. We hitting that brewery up, boys and girls, up there in Kennesaw. So Dry County Brewery, 7 p.m. tomorrow. And like Chandler's saying, guys, hey, if you have deals that you want to get on the MLS, right? This is the hardest time in the last 3 years since I've been in the business to sell your deals by far. Getting on MLS puts you in front of a tremendous amount of buyers. And even if it's a total fixer-upper, we can sell it on the MLS because you also, not on the MLS, you don't just get conventional buyers. You also get a boatload of cash investors, hedge funds, and other people in there that are looking for deals right now, right? People that don't have wholesalers sending them deals. Yep. So if you're interested in that, reach out to Chandler on Instagram, Chandler Sane, or hit him up on Facebook. But again, if you're looking at helping us, we'll show you how to put on the MLS. We'll do it for you. It's a JV deal. We work together. We both get paid.
Anywhere in the country, not just Georgia.
Anywhere in the country.
Also, like, don't hit me up on Facebook. Definitely Instagram because I will probably not reply on Facebook because I don't have notifications on. But
if you don't have a Facebook, though, contact me then.
Yeah. Hit Gino up on Facebook if you want to do that. All right, Laz. What do you want to leave listeners with?
Yeah. So the one thing I would leave you with is I'm absolutely not a perfectionist. Like if I send an email to people, 20% of what I'm saying is there's typos in it. So to say that, I'm just saying like things don't have to be 100% dialed in. I know I'm saying the word dialed and predictive data, all that stuff, but it does not have to be 100% dialed in for you to make money. Like over time, it will get better. And as you continue to scale, you'll focus on ways to create efficiency. But early on, like do not look for perfection and like grind. Like I am team grind. Like do what you have to do, especially in this market. And you will be rewarded. And then just don't get hyped off what people are saying they're doing, because 9 out of 10 of people who are saying they're doing something, they're probably not even doing it. So just focus on your path and grind.
Yeah, I like that.
That's probably true. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot, dude.
Well,
Laz, I think you gave a ton of value today. So
yeah, you definitely want to top guest here. Bunch of value. Thanks for coming on, and we'll see you soon. Hopefully, CG.
Yes, sir. And if you guys come down to South Florida, Gino, I know you play a little golf. I seen that golf swing. Hit me up.
Hey, yo, I don't know if you want this golf swing. It's not that good.
Cool.
All right, man.
boys.
All right, guys.